Jasmine Crockett confronts Marjorie Taylor Greene over alleged insider trading. Well done. Here it is.
Let's look at fraud. We could investigate whether the White House and the members of this subcommittee engaged in insider trading and market manipulation. Maybe it's a coincidence that the chairwoman brought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock the day before Trump announced a 90-day pause on tariffs. But I guess we'll never know.
Uh-oh. Well, that's the biggie. Put it up for a mass. We have some details to share. DOGE, as I call them, DOGE committee goes off the rails after Democrats suggest Marjorie Taylor Greene engaged in insider trading. In a hearing on Wednesday, Democrats suggested Marjorie Taylor Greene had engaged in insider trading. It caused the hearing to be suspended for 20 minutes. Greene's trades during the April tariff dip have drawn scrutiny from Democrats. Democrats suggest at a House hearing on Wednesday that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene had engaged in insider trading, derailing the proceedings for roughly 20 minutes. The DOGE subcommittee, which is chaired by the Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, was holding a hearing on transgender athletes competing in fencing and other sports. Very, very important to the voter. Yeah. Put it up for a mass. So as Democrats on the panel criticized Greene, two of them, both Representatives Greg Casar and Jasmine Crockett, both of Texas, brought up recent stock trades made by the Congresswoman. Now, when I say recent, really recent, and the timing extremely, let's just say they would have called this circumstantial evidence. We're here because Chairwoman Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks that if she picks on vulnerable people like trans folks, she can avoid having a discussion about the allegations of insider trading against her. Greene purchased tens of thousands of dollars in stock in an array of companies between April 2nd and April 9th. When then President Trump's tariff announcement and subsequent pause led to large shifts in the stock market. The Congresswoman has maintained that the trades were made by an independent financial advisor. Quote, that's something that my portfolio manager does for me, and he did a great job. The Congresswoman told the Georgia Recorder last month. Guess what he did? He bought the dip. Republican Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina then asked to take Crockett's own words down, saying the Texas Congresswoman was, quote, alleging a criminal act that led to the subcommittee suspending its business to review Crockett's remarks. Eventually, Greene called the meeting back to order. The Republican asked Mace to withdraw her motion, saying that the Texas Democrats' remarks were borderline and that it was important to move on, quote, in the interest of making sure that we stay on track, instead of getting sidetracked by Democrats' nonstop fake accusations. Let's put it up full mass here. Okay. And 58 wallets made over 10 million apiece on Trump meme coin, while 764,000 lost money, according to a new report. Exactly 58 wallets cashed in over $10 million each on President Donald Trump's meme coin, while a staggering 764,000 wallets are sitting on losses. That's according to a new report. And this is a chain analysis. The Trump-themed token, $Trump, exploded onto the blockchain scene earlier this year ahead of the president's second inauguration. But it looks like the coin has delivered purely for a particular elite class of mega profiteers. Those 58 wallets have collectively poured in how much money? 1.1 billion. 1.1 billion in profits, yes, according to data shared with CNBC. Meanwhile, the vast majority of holders, mostly small-time investors, have been left holding the bag. Of the 2 million wallets that have purchased the coin, 3/4 are in the red. In other words, this issue goes deeper than you ever could have imagined. But as Marjorie Taylor Greene says, he did a good job. Independent financial portfolio person. All right, Yasmin, these individuals, I mean, this is not some kind of left-wing talking point. Mm-hmm. These individuals are actually in it for money. And listen, I don't give a damn about where we may agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on some other stuff. This human being is racist, corrupt, and vile, just like Trump and the rest of the cronies in MAGA, period.
I mean, look, like maybe MTG buying all of those stocks right before Trump did what he did was just a coincidence. But as Crockett says, we may never know because there's not any investigation and there might not be any. And insider trading, like, let's be honest, it happens on both sides of the aisle. Yeah. But it's a problem when either Democrats or Republicans do it. And a lot of Republicans like to pretend that Democrats, oh, you're only mad because it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, we're still mad about Nancy Pelosi. And how she said, you know what, I have a right to do what I'm doing. And by the way, those are all my husband's trades. I'm not even involved in any of that. So some Congress people do want to do something about all of this, including Jasmine Crockett, but it feels unlikely that anything will happen because the same people who would outlaw it are the same people benefiting from it and benefiting to the tune of millions of dollars. There is one Republican representative, Rob Bresnahan, who actually introduced a bill on Friday that asked for a stock trading ban and transparency among Congress people. But Capital Trades, which is a site that monitors lawmakers' trades, found that Bresnahan was one of the most active freshman traders in Congress. He made 357 trades in his first few months in Congress, even though he says, he doesn't do the trades. He has somebody who manages all of his portfolio and all of his stock trades and things like that, which is exactly what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying. Also, there's the fact that Trump posted something on X, whatever he said, now would be a good time to buy the dip or whatever, right before he reversed his tariff calls. And so he knew that the market was going to rebound. And so I feel in him doing that, he was giving people ample cover, right? There's oh, you know what? I was just doing it because Trump said I could. Trump said to do this, so I did it. And so now it's like, was it insider trading or was this publicly available information that the people were acting on? So that's where it gets a little bit murky as far as litigating something like this. I think there is maybe a better argument for like market manipulation on the part of the Trump administration. But again, we'd have to have an investigation to see how all this would play out.
And Yasmin, isn't that the way of these individuals when you think about it? They have done the thing illegal that typically would be done privately. They've done it up front. I mean, yeah. Trump publicly called for his supporters to go to the Capitol. It wasn't a private meeting. It was a public proclamation. And when you look at the system of approaches, they have routinely done it this way in order to claim plausible deniability while at the same time still breaking the essence of why the rule is there in the first place or the law that they violated in the first place. And I will say this, it is interesting to me that these individuals represent people who are from various socioeconomic backgrounds. And while the fake out, in my opinion, is, well, if you vote for us, we're going to provide the livable wages that you need. The economy is going to bounce back. But damn, that hasn't happened. But you guys are much richer today than you were before Trump got elected. But the people that voted you in are not. They're poorer, they are less employed, and they now have less benefits and opportunities to look forward to due to your cutting of so many offices and opportunities. So how does this, and I'm asking you specifically, how do you think this is going to be reconciled in the context of Democratic politics, because even though this is happening, Democrats have to figure out a way to message it properly to make the case. And that's something they haven't done well.
Yeah, the Democrats, the thing is, they know that they have a messaging issue and they talk about, you know what, I know that we have this issue, but they don't do anything about it. And they still haven't quite figured out how to address that issue. And on some level, I do sympathize with them, right? Because a lot of the things that they're trying to get these American people to understand, it's not easily summed up in some kind of slogan, right? The Democrats are assuming that people are still out here reading books and not memes, whereas the Republican Party understands that these people are operating off of memes, right? They're getting most of their information off of snippets that they see on social media. They're getting entire like ideologies just from comment sections. You know, somebody said this, and so then it goes into their memory bank, and then they understand it that way. Something that's interesting about these stock trades, particularly, is that, as you said, so many Americans are still suffering. We're not seeing the rebound in prices that Trump promised we would see, whether or not, you know, I didn't believe it, but a lot of his supporters did. And that's really why they voted for him. But if they see people like Marjorie Taylor Greene making millions and millions of dollars off of her stock trades, in some way, they internalize that as, you know what, things are looking up, things are doing well, are going well now for some people. And it's only a matter of time before that trickles down to me. The Democrats need to be more forceful about the fact that this economy over here, that the billionaires and the millionaires are playing in, is a different economy from the one that you're playing in, right? And I don't mean that in the literal sense. I mean that there are things that are going to affect the millionaires and billionaires, things that they're going to be able to profit off of and, you know, just pull in millions of dollars at a time, that the average American who is not invested in the stock market or who doesn't have access to the president the way that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene do would be able to benefit from. So however the Democrats figure that out, whether that's town halls, they do really well whenever they go to town halls, actually. Whether they're going, like I always think of Beto O'Rourke when he was running for the Senate here in Texas. He made a lot of he doesn't get as much credit as I think he deserves, because ultimately he lost the race, but he came very, very, very close, closer than anyone. He was considered to be a very progressive Democrat at the time, but he made a lot of inroads with Republicans and Republican voters just by going to their counties and talking to them. And the Democrats, it's a much harder route to go compared to what the Republicans have been able to do by weaponizing social media and all these like short form bits of, you know, snippet politicking, you know. But the Democrats, if they want to earn trust back from their voters, they're going to have to put in the work to do so.
Well said. Agree 100%.